Why are you sitting here and why am I standing here? I'm standing here because I want to talk to you about some of the experiments that we're playing around with at Fable, Fable 2. Now, to remind you of the ridiculous thing that I said in Fable 1, if anyone can quote me, I said stupidly that we were going to create the greatest role-playing game of all time. Now, that was a pretty dumb thing for anybody to say, but let me tell you, we're still going to create the greatest role-playing game of all time, because what's the point in trying to create anything unless you feel like you're going to create the greatest thing of all time? And what this demo is all about, and what I want you to get across to you, is that we are going to choosing a few, not a lot, a small number of features and trying to experiment and play with them to give you something different to play with. Something different. I mean, I've played countless, hundreds of sword fighting, gun shooting, combat-based games. I've played lots of them ever since I was back on the Atari, whatever it was, when Golden Axe came out. You know, I've played them over 20 years now, and they're all the same. And what I want to do is build something just a little bit different. And here's my problem. I know that gamers, hardcore gamers, will love the idea of having a game where they kind of can stretch the boundaries of what they can do with the combat system. They feel that they won't find the ends of those boundaries. So they get towards the end of the game and they still haven't uncovered all the moves or all the special moves. I know I have to do one of those, but I also have to make a game that is really accessible. And the problem is that when I sit down and start thinking about the RPG genre and then think about fighting and combat, the two don't really go together. And I don't know if anyone in this room could name an RPG which is a great combat game. It's tough. I mean, normally, and I include Fable in this, combat is a little bit of an oversight, which is a bit crazy when you consider it takes up 50% of the time. So we're going to experiment with some combat stuff. We're going to do combat in a slightly different way. Something really, really deep, but really accessible. Something where, and this is my dream, when I laid it out to the team, I said, right, we're going to create a combat system where if I'm in a demo like this, I can throw the controller to a journalist and they can carry on the demo for me. That's pretty ambitious. We're going to give it a try today, but it may or may not work. Anyway, let's look at the simplicity first. All of this combat, the entirety of what I'm talking about today is just the sword, just melee hand-to-hand combat. There is also range combat and magic combat, which I'm not talking about, but everything I say about the sword combat, think, kind of applies to range and magic combat as well. So, I do just by holding that key down. I can release it any time. So I'm going to attack him. Now let's talk about the different styles of combat. Normally, one-button combat, you review terribly. We all think it's rubbish. We tried it before. But can we make it more interesting? And let's have a look. So one-button combat includes button mashers that do things like this. They just mash the button as fast as they possibly can. And you will be able to finish this game if you're a button masher. Absolutely. We're not going to stop you button mashing. If you enjoy button mashing, brilliant. We're going to use a lot of tricks, some of them subconscious tricks, to try and get you to mash at the right rhythm. You see, I'm mashing at the right rhythm. I got the right rhythm there. We're just going to use tricks to try and get you to mash at the right time. That's one of the things that we're going to do. So mashing is one of them. Let's talk about another system that we're using, and that's called holding. If I hold down normally, and this guy attacks me, I will block. We've managed to get rid of the block button. Again, that's really, really simple. If I hold down and I'm not attacked, that actually is a